Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you today. I am honored to serve as the chairman for the House Subcommittee on Railroads, Pipelines, and Hazardous Materials in the 118th Congress. It is no secret that this Congress has had its challenges, but that is not the case for the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. Thus far, the committee has passed an FAA reauthorization, a pipes reauthorization, a Coast Guard reauthorization, and is well on its way working through the next WRDA. This is the result of the bipartisan leadership of both Chairman Graves and Ranking Member Larson. My subcommittee spent the first part of this Congress working on a bipartisan pipes bill that I am proud overwhelmingly passed out of committee. We have in tandem held hearings regarding oversight of Amtrak and rail safety. There are several major rules and regulations that have been promulgated that will have substantial impacts on the rail industry, a few of which I will address in my remarks today. But before I do that, I think it would be prudent to mention the derailment that dominated headlines a little more than a year ago. As many of you are aware, in the early days of this Congress, a major train derailment occurred in East Palestine, Ohio. A week after the derailment, I visited the site to see for myself what had occurred and what efforts were being undertaken into the community. I was pleased to see the commitments from all parties involved and the recent settlement of $600 million. I have been working in a bipartisan manner with fellow committee members to address the root causes of that derailment, visiting sites around the country to hear directly from the men and women who work in this industry. And any policy that I support will involve engaging with the relevant stakeholders that will be backed by data. I can assure you that nothing will occur before the experts at the NTSB have concluded their work and finalized their report. I was happy to see the NTSB added 2 board members, bringing the safety panel to full strength, and that the House of Representatives provided additional funding in the FAA reauthorization. I am hopeful the Senate can get their act together and pass a long-term FAA reauthorization, something Chairwoman Hamady called for in our hearing. Whenever a major incident occurs, it is essential that policymakers understand the ripple effects of any legislation that they may pass. I am pleased with the overall safety record of our rail network and the continuing efforts of stakeholders to deploy state-of-the-art technology and policies that reduce safety incidents. Contrary to what the media may report, railroad accidents and injuries are down 27% from the year 2000 to 2023. Collisions are down 62%, and hazmat incidents are down 75%. This does not mean that we should get completely complacent, but I strongly believe it is important to get the facts correct. Congress should be working with the industry, not against it. After traveling to several railroads and manufacturers, I am extremely bullish on the future of the industry. The technology being tested and deployed is absolutely going to usher in a golden age for freight and passenger safety. I am all for having strong regulations that increase safety, protect the environment, and increase productivity for the industry. But I do not believe in overburdening an industry out of some ideological crusade. I am an advocate for performance-based rules and regulations because I believe this fosters a climate of innovation and best practices. The market and competition are the best vehicles to spur new ways to increase safety. Prescriptive regulations, while often well-intended, often hamstring industry and stifle innovation. Railroads are already incredibly cost-effective and one of the cleanest modes of transportation. The California Air Resources Board proposed in-use locomotive regulation is a prime example of what regulation that will have a horrible ripple effect on the industry. The proposed regulation would levy annual fees on rail carriers, require the decommission of locomotives 23 years or older, and add additional reporting requirements. This regulation will threaten the financial viability of several short-line railroads and severely disrupt our agriculture industry. Zero-emission locomotives, which are not yet commercially available, would have to be purchased, and the limited testing that has occurred is not ready. It's just not ready for prime time. For these reasons, I do not support this regulation and hope some reform can occur. In January of this year, my subcommittee held a hearing on the examination of railroad grade crossing elimination and safety. And during the hearing, we heard from the Federal Railroad Administration, Chairwoman Hammondy, the President and CEO of the Association of American Railroads, and the Commissioner of the Indiana Department of Transportation. The testimony from these individuals left me convinced that one of the most important things government can do to reduce the number of deaths in railroading is to facilitate the elimination of as many grade crossings as possible. Chairwoman Hammondy stated, and I quote, "Grade crossings are among the deadliest spaces in our rail system, in part because they are where our rail and highway systems meet. Better separating these systems would save thousands of lives and incur many other benefits," end quote. I adamantly agree with this assessment. Railroads agree with this assessment. Labor unions agree. And I think it is an area where both sides of the political aisle can prioritize federal funding. And for this reason, I've said on the record that I strongly support increasing federal monies for the Railroad Crossing Elimination Grant Program. I believe closing as many crossings as possible will not only save lives, but also will reduce congestion in our rail network, benefiting both freight and passenger. While I am a strong fiscal conservative and often vote no on new federal spending, I do believe American people want and expect their federal government to invest in infrastructure. As chair of the subcommittee, I confess, I have noticed that the Department of Transportation is very focused on prioritizing advancing technology and innovation in almost every mode of transportation but rail. And this is a mistake. As we all wait for the final report from the NTSB, I believe that in its aftermath, there will be an opportunity to explore new opportunities to reform existing grant programs at FRA and perhaps develop new ones that will deploy safety-enhancing technology. One of the most important things I have done in Congress is highlight the new and existing grant programs at the U.S. DOT and the importance to the vitality of the freight industry. One of my favorite programs is the Consolidated Rail Infrastructure and Safety Improvement Program, CRISI. The CRISI grant program is essential for our short-line railroads and absolutely a key component for deployment railroad safety technology, capital projects for our Class II and Class III railroads, and rail improvement projects. One of the areas of IJA that I do support that was advanced appropriations for the CRISI grant program for 5 years. I recently signed a letter to the Appropriations Committee advocating for the full authorized funding for this program and make changes to streamline the process for applicants. The program is extremely oversubscribed. Republicans on the committee overwhelmingly support this program because of its importance to our short lines, a message that has been both publicly and privately communicated to this administration. My subcommittee will have the first commuter rail hearing in over 20 years. When the commuter railroads came to my office and told me it has been this long, I was frankly shocked, and I promised them we would have a hearing. Commuter railroads deliver over 500 million passenger trips each year and are a vital part of how people traverse our nation. They have been under immense pressure since the COVID pandemic as a result of the changes to workplace operations and teleworking policies. It is my hope that our witnesses will utilize this opportunity to help educate the committee on innovative ways to strengthen our commuter rails and learn about issues that can help spur their ridership. We will be examining the excess liability insurance issue and considering legislation about extending the window from 30 days to one that is fair and beneficial to everyone. We will also have the opportunity to discuss new innovative ideas, such as a center of excellence for the freight and passenger industries. Like other industries, I believe these could spur research, trainings for the industry, and address workforce development issues. I have been working with colleagues across the aisle on ideas and consulting with several labor organizations who are supportive of this concept. Finally, regarding high-speed rail, I publicly stated that I am supportive of high-speed rail in America where it makes sense. As our states grow, so too should our infrastructure, and I believe having a variety of transportation options is preferable. However, it is equally important that we do not waste limited government resources on projects that are not financially viable and plagued with delays. I would strongly reiterate that any project should respect the use of taxpayer dollars and should have the support of local stakeholders. Eminent domain is an intrusive power of government and should only be used as a last resort, not a first. The United States is not China, where we treat property owners like cattle. No, not in this country. We respect the rights of property owners. Thank you all, and God bless you.